When you work in Google Sheets and you become familiar with writing formulas, you may decide that you would like to try writing a formula using a named range instead of using cell references. And so today we're going to look at named ranges and then look at some of the pros and cons that go with that. Hi, I'm Terry, one of the Consumer Technology Specialists for Mid-Continent Public Library, and let's look at Google Sheets and named ranges. As I look at our example today, I can see that I have a relatively small company here that does have 5 districts: Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, Northwest, and Southwest. And this spreadsheet, small as it is showing its quarter sales. So we have a column for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. And so I would naturally like to get some totals. I'd certainly like to get the totals for each one of the quarters. I want to know if summer works better than winter, for example, but how do I make my most profit with this company? And then I also want to find out how the different districts are doing. So I want row totals so that I can find out, is Northeast performing better than Northwest, for example? And if I am going to eventually give this information to someone who is not used to reading spreadsheets, or maybe they're just busy and they don't want to sit there and look at the cell references and figure out the formulas, but they'd rather, if they need to look at a formula, simply have words that they can read and understand, I may decide to use named ranges instead. So let's start here with quarter 1 because I know that I want to find out what the total is for quarter 1. So I'm going to select those cells. To create a named range, I need to go up to the menu bar to the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th tab, which is data. And then from there, I can click data and come down about halfway to named ranges and click on that. Now that brings up a pane on the right that's called named ranges. And right now, because I have that blue highlighting under named range 1, it's telling me that I could give this named range a name. Now I need to be a little careful. I'm limited to 250 characters, which is not a big deal, but I cannot have a space in the range name, and that might be more important. Let's see, I can't start a range name with a number, for example. So what I'm going to do is basically go with QTR. And then because I have a space in the name in column B, I'm just going to put in an underline as a space holder and then put in a 1. And then it's already picked up because I have selected B4 through B8 that is where that range is. And then I'm going to click Done. And here is my quarter 1 range. Now, anytime I decide that I need to edit it, let's say that I add in another district, and so I need to expand that range a little bit, I could always come back to the edit, the little pencil here, and it gives me basically the same look, and I would simply fix whatever needs to be changed. I'm going to click on Done again because we also want to add in quarter 2, so I'll select those cells. And this time over at the right, I have the option to add a range, and I'll click on that. And then we're going to call this QTR underscore 2 and click Done. And now I have quarter 1, quarter 2. We'll go ahead and do the same thing with quarter 3. And all I need to do is add a range, type the name. And because I selected those cells to begin with, they're already in the definition of the range. And then I'll click Done. And then quarter 4, add a range. This is QTR underscore 4 and Done. So I have the 4 quarters. Now this is really pretty nifty because now I can come down to B9, and I would still either go to that function button on the right in the toolbar, or I can just type equals sum. But this time, what am I going to sum? Well, and of course it's trying to put in the cell references, but I could type Q. And as soon as I type a Q, look at this. It gives me a list of the quarter range names. So I can click quarter 1, and I'm even going to end the parenthesis there, and then press enter. When I click in B9, you can see how now it says equal sum quarter 1. Now that is just more readable and maybe easier to understand. I can always come back over to the right to the named ranges pane to see what is included in that particular range name. Now, having done that, and we're thinking this is super great, watch what happens when I grab our little fill handle here and drag to the right. Wait a minute. 76659, this is exactly the same answer, isn't it? When I click in C9 and look at the formula bar, it's exactly the same formula, quarter 1. So, while range names are a great help and they are eminently readable, they include absolute values. So, you need to name each one of your ranges independently, and you cannot use the fill handle to copy one formula to another cell. So I'm going to delete, and this time I'll just say equal sum, and I'll type the Q, and this is quarter 2. It still goes pretty fast. I'll press enter, go to quarter 3 total, and again, equal sum, left parens, I'll type the Q, and this is quarter 3, press enter, and then for quarter 4, I'll go to E9, type equal sum, left parens, put in the Q for quarter 4, end the parens, press enter, and now I have very distinctly different numbers for the different totals for the different quarters. Well, if I can have quarter totals, I can also have district totals. So what do I need to do? Name the ranges for each one of the districts, and I can do that. It's the same thing except that the districts are in a row. So I'm going to select B4 through E, and then I'm going to add a range. And what is this going to be? I think I'm going to call this district, and I'm going to abbreviate that underscore Northeast, and click done. And then I'm going to do the same kind of thing for each of the other 4. So Southeast, I'll select the cells, add a range, give it a name, district underscore Southeast, double check, of course, what I've selected and make sure those numbers look right, and click done. Then we'll go to Midwest. Select those cells, add a range. We're going to go with district underscore Midwest, done. We'll go to Northwest, add range, so this is district underscore Northwest, done. And here is Southwest, the last one. We'll select those cells, add a range, district underscore Southwest, and click done. Now how do I then add this in? Same way. Here in F4, I want to get a total for the Northeast district. So I'll say equals sum, put in my left parens, and this time I'm going to type a D for district. Now, these are in alphabetical order, so I need to find Northeast and click on it and put in my right parens. And notice how it's even color-coded, so I really can't make a mistake here, or at least it'd be kind of hard to. And there is my total. Now again, I cannot just click on this formula that I put in F4, find the fill handle, click and drag down, because it's absolute references that are included within named ranges. So here I'm going to do district southeast, so I'll say equals sum district southeast. Oops. And then here I'll say equals sum district. And what is it this time? It is Midwest. So let's find Midwest. And then we have Northwest, so equals sum, left paren, district again, type the D, Northwest, and right paren. And our very last one equals sum, left paren. Again, I need to type the D to get into that list. And then this is Southwest. Put in my right parenthesis and press enter. And now I have a total, and it even is suggesting that I get a total of my totals, which is absolutely fine with me. So I'm going to click on the check mark. So now I not only have my quarter sales, but I have totals. And these totals, when I look at the formula bar, are very understandable because they're in English as opposed to cell references, which really kind of throw people sometimes. Make sure, though, when you create a range name that it doesn't look like a cell name. And just be very careful that whatever you put in is, well, unique and makes sense to the data that you have. Now, here is something that you may run into from time to time. Let's say that I have my sheet 1 with my quarter sales, and then for whatever reason, I decided to go to sheet 2, and right now it's blank, but I've decided that I want to refer back to one of those districts that are on sheet 1. And maybe I just want to find the name of the district, maybe I want to find a total, but in some way I want to look at that particular information again. And if I have a really large spreadsheet that I'm working with, that could be kind of difficult. But if I know that I want to look for, say, the Midwest district on sheet 1, look what I can do. I can go back up to data and then down to named ranges and reopen that pane that's called named ranges. And then I still have the list of all of the districts that are available. So I could click on Midwest and look at that. It takes me to the correct sheet and then even highlights that information. Or if I say, oh gosh, I really need to highlight quarter 3 sales. Well, I just come in here, click on quarter 3, and it takes me to the quarter 3 named range. And so you can also use named ranges to navigate within your file. So it's really up to you how you like to use named ranges, but they can really help make people make sense of what you're doing. For example, if you have a really large spreadsheet and you need to simply show that you have sales minus expenses, why not call those particular areas of the spreadsheet sales and expenses? Then when they see how you got that answer, it's so much easier than reading the cell references for a lot of people. And that is Google Sheets and named ranges. To learn even more, be sure to go to mymcpl.org/online learning for such great resources as Universal Class, Learning Express Library, LinkedIn Learning, and Udemy Business. We also premiere videos every Wednesday and Friday at 1 o'clock. If you miss a video premiere, you'll still be able to find it later when it's convenient for you. You can find us on Facebook at MCPL 360, and you can find us on YouTube by going to our MCPL MO channel.